Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of my viewers from across the world living in different time zones. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of JForex Indicators Explained, we will be looking at one interesting indicator, and this is a commonly used indicator. Many of you might even be aware of it. So the name is Pivot Point Series. We consider the momentum of the underlying instrument using these indicator. We also get to know if it is bullish or bearish. Along with that, we also can utilize this indicator to look at the possible resistance and support level. So there is the multi-purpose indicator which you can utilize in multiple ways to look at the dynamic price structure for any given financial instrument. So let us now head to the JForex 4 platform, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the Euro USD chart. Most of the time, I use the Euro USD simply because it's one of the most liquid pair in the forex market and also commonly traded. Nothing particular. We can also use other instrument if you feel like. You can give me some suggestions in the feedback section. Okay, so if needed, we will look at a different instrument next time around. For this session, I will keep it Euro USD. Now, you will find these indicator, the pivot points in overlap studies, or else you can do a quick search. So here in this listing, we have these pivot. Here it is, pivot 2, or you can simply do a quick search and here you will find it. All right. So now I have plotted the pivot point series with the time frame of the day. So these points have been drawn using the prior day's data, and this will be valid for today's trading session. So every day we get to have these points defined. The midpoint, which is called the pivot point, then the resistance and support levels. We have two sorry, not two, we have three resistance levels defined and we have three support levels defined, and then there is all important pivot point. Anything above it is considered bullish, and if the price is hovering below it, then that is considered bearish. So we can utilize this indicator in multiple ways. We can use these support levels, the S1, S2, S3, to define the support levels which we can utilize to look for possible consolidation and thereafter reversal from those levels. And similarly, we can utilize the resistance level, the R1, R2, and R3, to look for the resistance which is faced by the underlying instrument. And if we see the underlying instrument consolidating closer to these levels, and if there is the chance of possible reversal, we can also take the trade using these resistance levels. So that's the classical interpretation, and we can have these all important pivot point. So whenever we have a break on either side, if we have seen the price momentum breaking below these pivot point, then that can also be considered the opportunity to go short for that particular instrument. And if we have the break above it, and if the price mechanism sustains those moves, then we can consider the upside possibility, upside momentum possibility, and go bullish in the chosen instrument. So that is the way to look at it. It is drawn using the prior day's high, low, and the close level, which is then divided by 3. And similarly, the formula for the finding of resistance and support is also quite easy. I will not really go into the details of that, but I think it is something like we have to consider the pivot point, then we have to multiply it by twice by 2, and then we deduct the low price. That's how we arrive at the resistance level. And for support, we take the pivot point, we multiply it by 2, and then deduct the low price. So I'm not precise here. For a more detailed formula, you will of course have to do a bit of search, and you will easily get it on the internet. But here this session is mainly dedicated to finding the possible formations which we can utilize to look for trading opportunities on this platform, the JForex 4 platform. So we have this indicator in place, and we will see what we can do to customize and make it helpful for figuring out the opportunities to go long, short, or to decide simply to sit on the sideline. We now go to the editing options. If you want the historical levels to be shown, then you simply have to click on it and you will get these historical levels plotted. So this is the prior day's structure of the pivot point where we had this pivot closer to the 1.028, and the support and resistance levels were far wide because in the prior day session we had this volatility, increased volatility, and every day we get these levels plotted using the prior day's price mechanism, price structure. So because of that, the prior day's volatility is getting reflected in this formation of the pivot series for the next day. As the price momentum was subdued in the last session, we have now again these support, resistance, and the pivot point being drawn closer to each other. So lot depends on how the price volatility plays out on any given day for how the next day's pivot series is going to be plotted. Now here you can look at this formation, and as I said, the most important point is the central point, the pivot point, and we consider it to be a dividing factor in the sentiments for going long or short. And it is advisable if the price is holding well above this pivot point, then we should concentrate on going for the buy trade, and if it is below it, then we should preferably go short. But if we see the price stabilizing closer to the support or resistance level, then we can also play for the contra trend trades, and we can take the reversal into account. We can look for going against the trend also. So these are various ways which you can utilize to look for the trade setup to be defined. Now let us see the higher candle period plotting for this indicator, the pivot series. Is taking a little bit time. Let us hold, let us wait for a couple more seconds. All right. As the formation has been converted into 4 hourly chart, while this plotting remains for the day, we had too many historical levels plotted and the chart started to look cluttered. So now I will remove the historical levels. Okay, show labels. If we opt out of show labels, then there won't be any price level along with these points. If we opt for show labels, then all the naming the P series, the support, and the accompanying price levels will be shown. Then we come to the output levels, how to plot the output. We can make it look more stylish, more colorful, or you can simply go with this default setup. We can also have these additional points plotted, the midpoint levels, the pivot point, and the resistance levels are used to arrive at these possible combinations, the various midpoints in between the pivot point and the support levels. Now coming to the styling, if we want to make it more stylish, you can go for that as well. All right, we can increase the width. So we will have plotting in a more prominent manner. The transparency can also be, we keep the central point more transparent, more prominent, and rest of it can be reduced. Now let's see how it is looking. So this is the changes. These are the changes which are now visible on this plotting of the pivot series. So whenever you go to any of these levels, the support or the resistance level, you will have all these values reflected on the chart as well. Now coming to editing window again, we can define this indicator to remain constant for the calculation period. If we opt for this recalculate on new candle only, then it will remain valid for the whole of the candle period and it won't be changing anytime. And if you want the calculation period to be highlighted, you simply have to opt for this highlight the time period zone, and whatever is the calculation period, it will be highlighted. So this is for the day. So we will have this in the highlight. All right. Coming to the calculate from custom data, we can opt for the instrument to be used from the chart, or if you want it to be fixed, then you can specify it and the plotting will be done only for that indicator. The calculation period can be changed. You can opt for day. If you want to make it weekly, then all you have to do is change it to weekly, and you will see that the new plotting will be for the whole of the week. It is yet to appear, but it should appear pretty soon. Let's change the chart to 4 hour. All right, so this is now for whole of the week starting from 8th of August till today. And these levels will remain constant for whole of the week. And it is drawn using the prior week's pricing mechanism, the price volatility. And whatever is the price volatility this week, it will be reflected in the plotting for the next week. Whenever we will come back for trading on Monday, we will have the new series of the pivot points plotted on the weekly basis, and even for the day. Once we come back Monday, we will have a new series drawn for the daily time frame as well. Now, if we want to use it on the lower time frame, then you can even plot the pivot points for 4 hourly time frame. You can do that as well. If you are a intraday trader, then you can take into account the intraday price volatility, and keeping that in mind, you can opt for lower time frame plotting of the points, which are the prominent points to be kept in mind while making the trading decisions. Now let me edit it to 4 hours. So we have it now plotted for 4 hours. So whatever was the price volatility in the last 4 hours, it now gets reflected in these 4 hours. And as you can see, the Euro USD price has stabilized closer to the second support, and it has bounced somewhat from the from that price zone. And if you use this pricing mechanism very soon, in the next hour we will have the new pivot points in place, and then we can take the fresh assessment and trade accordingly. So this is a very dynamic indicator, and we can define it for any time frame which we want to rely on. Now I will restore it back to the day, and chart also will be restored back to hourly. Time zone can be used from the chart, or you can define it depending on which area of the world you live in. You can make it local time time standard. All right, so I will not tinker with that. On shorter period, display values that you can display the values at custom period end, custom period start, custom period middle, or each candle. So whatever is the chosen option, accordingly the plotted values will be reflected on the chart. The spread side can be ask or bid, or you can simply use it from the chart, or you can keep it fixed to any of these two values. And if you opt for this show indicator on all periods, whenever you change the candle period from, say, for example, hourly to 15 minutes, the plotting will be done. But if you opt out of this, then you have to specify on which particular candle periods the plotting for the indicator to be done, and only on those candle periods the plotting will be done. So this platform provides you the flexibility of how you want to make the assessment of the market, and you can even customize these indicators to reflect the price dynamism in different time frames. You can define certain levels for say hourly chart, and it should be reflected only on the hourly time frame. And if you want to define a different set or parameter for, say, intraday perspective, from the intraday perspective for, say, 5 minute time frame, then you can opt for another set, and it will be visible only on the 5 minutes, whereas other set will be visible on the hourly. So you can customize the indicator in multiple ways, and you will have all those price finding mechanisms reflected on the chart. So that's it from my side for today's session. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too for trying out this newly released JForex platform. The link has also been included in the bio, so do check it out. Thank you all for joining in. I will be back on Monday with a new indicator, new setup, new technical aspects to discuss on. Now I'm signing off. Have a fabulous day and the weekend. See you on Monday.